All right, Kevin, thank you. Now to your 17 Court Watch. The jury is still deliberating the fate of a woman accused of killing a Bakersfield chef. Closing arguments wrapped up yesterday in the case of Michaela Bowers. Bowers is accused of shooting Ray Ingram, the owner of Jay's Place restaurant, inside of her Southwest Bakersfield home in 2017. This is video of a past court appearance, as cameras are not allowed inside the courtroom for this trial. The prosecutor argues Bowers was a woman scorned, upset that Ingram fathered a child with another woman, while Bowers' attorney says Bowers was the victim of mental and physical abuse during her 25-year relationship with Ingram. The coroner confirms a man found dead at a local park was stabbed multiple times. The body of 28-year-old Manpreet Singh Gill was found at Bell Terrace Park in Southwest Bakersfield 1 month ago. His body was discovered inside of a bathroom, stabbed multiple times. According to the coroner, Gill also had heroin in his system. There is no word on any suspects, but if you have any information that could be helpful to investigators, call BPD at 327-7111. This morning, people from around our community gathered for the second annual Kern Catholic Prayer Breakfast. The breakfast is modeled after the Los Angeles Diocese. It's designed to bring Catholics throughout Kern County together to pray, celebrate, and grow in faith. The breakfast began with a rosary, followed by Mass and breakfast with keynote speaker Archbishop Salvatore Cordileone of the San Francisco Diocese. The newly elected bishop of the Diocese of Fresno, Bishop Joseph Brennan, gave the homily.
It's a time for us to come together as Catholics. Oftentimes we meet every Sunday in our own parishes and in our churches, but this is a time for us to come together as an entire community and pray.
Some 600 parishioners turned out for the breakfast and prayer. A local high school soccer team could use a little kick from the community. I believe that we can fly! 1 month ago, the Arvin High Bears defeated Fresno Christian 4-2 at home, winning a Valley championship. According to Arvin Athletic Director Ralph Gonzalez, it was the first Valley title for a girls' sports program at Arvin High School. The team is currently trying to raise money for championship rings, which aren't cheap. So far, they've raised $5,000, but they need about another $3,000 more. If you're interested in helping, just call the Arvin High School Finance Office and ask to donate to the girls' soccer team. Tonight, it's the Tip a Cop fundraiser for the Special Olympics. The event is hosted by the Kern County Sheriff's Office and kicks off at 5 p.m. at BJ's Restaurant and Brewhouse on Stockdale Highway. All tips given to deputies will be donated to the Special Olympics, and the event wraps up around 8. Well, many adults are not getting the dental care they need, and it's all because of costs. That's according to new figures released by the CDC today. According to the report, a total of nearly 13% of women and almost 9% of men skipped going to the dentist in 2017 because they couldn't afford it. When it comes to races, Hispanics were the most likely to have unmet needs. If you have a little one and want to make sure their car seat is set up properly, Adventist Health is holding a car seat safety class today at 5 p.m. Stop by the Adventist Health Wellness Center and head to the Rio Bravo room on the second floor. There will be a drawing for a brand new car seat. And if you missed today, Bakersfield Police and California Highway Patrol will hold a free check this weekend at the Burlington Coat Factory parking lot on California Avenue, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Heart disease is the #1 killer of men and women in the U.S., but many of the factors that raise our risk are entirely preventable. A health system in Michigan has a new tool to help patients assess their risk. Dr. Frank McGorge reports.
Each year, we lose over 800,000 people to cardiovascular disease.
Dr. Barry Franklin is the director of preventive cardiology at Beaumont Hospital. He doesn't mince words when it comes to the risk.
In a nutshell, people have to recognize that if you're 50 or over, you more likely than not have cardiovascular disease. So assume you have it. Assume you're a heart patient.
That's why Franklin is a big fan of Beaumont's Heart Health Risk Assessment. It asks key questions about your age, weight, your family history, and lifestyle.
What it does is then calculates two things. Your heart age, in other words, the heart age is what your heart is equivalent to for someone your age, and your 10-year risk of developing a cardiac event.
If your heart age is older than your actual age, that's a problem. So is an elevated 10-year risk.
For people who have 10-15% over the next 10 years, that puts them in a moderate to high risk category, and it suggests those are individuals who really need to favorably modify their lifestyle and reduce their risk factors.
Franklin says people need to be much more proactive about their health.
Where it all starts is poor diet, physical inactivity, and cigarette smoking. Sometimes people put their head in the sand too long. People who don't see a physician, or people who oftentimes assume, if I don't have symptoms, I'm fine. And that's, when it comes to heart disease, it's called the silent disease. New studies suggest that 85% of all adults over the age of 50 have cardiovascular disease. So the question is, do you have it? If you're over 50, I'm 85% confident you have it. The question is, how do you prevent those acute cardiovascular events?
Franklin says the single most important change you can make is to stop smoking and avoid secondhand smoke, too.
The latest information suggests lifelong smokers lose, on average, 10 to 12 years. That's not weeks, that's not days, that's years.
When it comes to your heart health, knowledge is power.
If you come out very low risk, then keep doing what you're doing. But if your risk is moderate to high, you need to be aggressive in terms of changing your lifestyle and getting those risk factors favorably modified. I think it can be a wake-up call. I think it can be an educational tool. And I also think it can be highly, highly motivating.
And you can take the quiz at beaumont.org. Welcome back now in your 70 Business Watch. We are checking stocks and everything rebounding today. The Dow is up roughly 219 points, NASDAQ up 15, and S&P 500 up roughly 30 points. Meantime, oil prices, West Texas Intermediate crude oil at $59.98 a barrel, and Midway Sunset Oil, our local blend, $66.33 a barrel. California Highway Patrol officers are beginning to learn about self-driving cars and how to respond if one is involved in an accident. Officers were back in class this week in San Jose learning about self-driving car technology. A representative from Google's driverless car company, Waymo, gave a presentation to teach officers and other emergency responders how to safely handle self-driving cars on the road. They learned how to disable the car's self-driving mode, tow the vehicle, handle it if it's flooded, and even where to cut the car if a passenger needs to be rescued.
Situations where we will need to interact with these vehicles in crashes, perhaps in enforcement contact. We need to really know how that is going to work out for us.
Google has been testing its cars in the Bay Area for months, but no word on when the company will offer service to consumers. And CVS has started selling cannabis-based products in California. The drugstore chain has partnered with cannabis manufacturers to carry a line of topical products infused with CBD. The products include creams, sprays, roll-ons, lotions, and salves. In a statement, CVS specified that it's not selling any CBD-containing supplements or food additives, or CBD is derived from the cannabis plant and is considered to be non-psychoactive. These products will only be available in about 800 stores in 8 states, which includes California, Alabama, Colorado, Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, Maryland, and Tennessee. So far, the Food and Drug Administration has not approved the use of CBD in food or beverage products. Orange Theory Fitness is coming to Bakersfield. The fitness studio has multiple locations across the country and is known for offering group personal training workouts. Construction is set to begin in April on Stockdale Highway. The opening day is not set, but the gym is expected to be open by summer. Well, it's the logical next step as wildfires continue to sweep across the western United States each year. And after a record amount of houses were lost in 2018, it could already be overdue. While building a truly fireproof house is impossible, researchers in South Carolina have been working to make homes more fire resistant in the battle against climate change. CNBC's Diana Olick takes a look.
Wildfires destroyed more U.S. homes and buildings last year than any other time in recorded history. And the 8 most destructive years for wildfires ever have been in just the last 13 years.
There is no reason to think that they're going to get better. So as you look at this kind of impact these variations in the climate have had, we are far more susceptible to the size and intensity of fires.
The Insurance Institute for Business and Home Safety is on the front lines of fire research. Wright is a former FEMA official and native Californian. His parents lost their home in the Camp Fire last year, the worst in the state's history. Roughly 14,000 homes there burned to the ground. Wildfire damage to property just in California last year totaled nearly $19 billion, according to CoreLogic.
There are steps that we can take so that the impact of that fire is narrowed, it doesn't spread as far, and it impacts far fewer structures.
So the Institute built this test home, one side incorporating fireproof design and materials, the other not.
So we have a 6-inch gap here from the top of the rock mulch to the start of the siding, and this 6-inch gap, just like our 5-foot zone, gives us a non-combustible area.
A wildfire's wall of flames may look most dramatic, but it's actually the flying embers that can be even more destructive. Satellites have captured embers flying up to 7 miles from a wildfire. These start secondary fires. The siding, roof, and landscaping on this home protect it from those embers.
There's no such thing as a fireproof home, but there is a wildfire-resistant home.
Welcome back in sports now. VHS announces who will lead the Drillers football program after much speculation. It is Michael Stewart, who was named as the head coach. Stewart, a former Driller himself, played at Fresno State, then in the NFL with the Rams and Dolphins for 10 years. He is the 9th football coach in VHS history, and he's replacing Coach Paul Gola, who left VHS in January for a position at Garces. And at some point during the day, we're going to check. And according to a new survey by staffing firm Robert Half, sports-related celebrations in the office are a win for workers and employers. In fact, 72% of senior managers say college basketball tournament activities have a positive impact on staff morale. And 75% of companies organize festivities for sporting events like March Madness, finding that they actually boost productivity. So let the madness begin. And on that note, if the Basketball Madness Bracket Challenge, sponsored by Just Wing It, is closed, but if you filled out a bracket on KGET.com, you're in the running still. If you picked out a perfect bracket, you could win $1 million. But if you missed the deadline, you can follow some of our KGET staff and see how your picks stacked up against those of Nick James, Alyssa Carlson, Maddie Jansen, myself, and Tammy Melchuk, just to name a few. Head to KGET.com and scroll down to Contests and click on the Basketball Madness icon. My bracket's already horrible.